Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss 300, starring Gerard Butler, Dominic West, Lena Headey, I don't know if I'm saying that right, please forgive me, Rodrigo Santoro, Michael Fassbender, David Denham, Vincent Reagan, Tom Wisdom, Andrew Plegvin, or Pleavin, I don't know if I'm saying that right, please forgive me, and Andrew Tiernan, and directed by Zack Snyder. Now, I gotta say right now, I have seen the movie before, like many times over the years, but is it as good as I remember? Well, let's just get into this. In 480 BC, as a young boy named Leonidas fights for survival and never to retreat and surrender, never to surrender, I mean, as his father is the king of the Spartans in the land of Sparta. And this movie's visuals is absolutely fucking gorgeous, particularly when Leonidas encounters a wolf and he kills it off by trapping it and holding it in between his shoulders and in between rocks and puts them on his shoulders and becomes King Leonidas, played by Gerard Butler, whom at the time I've only known playing the Phantom in The Phantom of the Opera from 2004. And he's in good shape in this movie, but the performance wasn't the movie's strong suit, as I went crazy when he shouts a hell of a lot. A Persian messenger sends a message to Leonidas, King Leonidas, let's call him, with his queen Gorgo, played by Lena Headey, who I have reviewed before in The Purge, but is also on Game of Thrones, which I don't watch. But where am I? Oh yeah, and for Earth and Water as Xerxes, I don't know if I'm saying the name right, please forgive me, played by Rodrigo Santoro, has an army coming for Sparta, and Theron, played by Dominic West, supports the Persian messenger as King Leonidas threatens the messenger with the sword, as King Leonidas says the line of this movie, "This is Sparta!" and kicks the messenger into the circle of death, and sends his soldiers with him, and he visits the Ephorns to tell them Xerxes and the Persian army will attack Sparta, which was in Greece, and wants them to help, but they say no, and Sparta will eventually fall. And they, after that meeting, in the next scene, we get a scene between Leonidas and Gorgo, which isn't really necessary as the movie is almost 2 hours, and the film looks gorgeous. But one critique, I have to get rid of that sex scene. We don't need it, honestly. It's kind of like that same problem with Watchmen, whereas Zack Snyder put in the sex scene in Watchmen. It just felt very problematic, honestly. Leonidas orders 300 Spartans to go battle against the Persians of, let me see if I'm saying this right, Thermopylae? I don't know if I'm doing that right. And Gorgo gives Leonidas the good luck necklace. And the narration comes up, which makes me think I know this was a graphic novel of a history that happened back then. But there were times it was a little distracting, but I'm more focused on the visuals are great. And the stories did happen to did happen back in the day, despite this isn't a biopic. But I'm wondering if the acting is good, and so far, it's mediocre at best. I mean, again, the acting's not the strong suit. I'll just say that much. A child walks by the Spartans and faints on King Leonidas and dies on his arms. And one of the 300 men, Stelios, played by Michael Fassbender, before he was ever famous, as they see a cross full of dead bodies, which was a haunting but a very good shot. There's quite a few haunting but very good shots in this movie, in my opinion. The Spartans build a wall with a bunch of bodies, and Stelios cuts off the King of Kings' arm and gives a message to the Persians that they will fight in the shade as they prepare to fight the Persians and arrive and fight, which is very bloody, and eventually push them off the cliff. And again, what a haunting but very good shot. Then the arrows come in, and the Spartans use their shields to block every single one. Leonidas uses a spear to cut the arrows off his shield, which was a pretty damn cool move. They prepare for another battle. They fight off every single Persian army, and there are good battle sequences, and I'm having a good time learning about the history of the 300 Spartans. Meanwhile, Gorgo doesn't trust Theron as he's the traitor of Sparta, and the scenes between them are pretty uncomfortable at times. Leonidas does get the privilege to meet Xerxes, who's a tall son of a bitch and has piercings and gold all over him, and I had to look this up. It was CGI as Gerard Butler is an inch taller than Rodrigo Santoro by an inch. As in the movie, it makes Xerxes a little bit taller than Gerard Butler. We move on to another fight between the Spartans and Persians with some extra help from the Immortals, as well as a giant monster looking thing as it picks a worthy opponent as he picks King Leonidas, and Leonidas stabs the monster looking for a looking thing and decapitates it and continues to fight the Immortals and failed Xerxes as Xerxes' empire fight the Spartans with some rock music, which felt out of place and keeps keep losing to the point he decapitates other generals, and it's getting bloody in one battle after another. And Astinos, played by Tom Wisdom, gets decapitated, and his father goes on a rampage after his son's death, which was sad, but I wasn't connecting with the characters as this is supposed to be a bloody adventure, which is why I'm here to watch this movie. Meanwhile, Theron has a word with Gorgo as she needs his help, and he doesn't want to because it will get her in jail, which is again an uncomfortable scene as he rapes her, and I did feel kind of awkward to put in this movie, in my opinion. King Leonidas sends his last order with Delios, played by David Wenham, who was Faramir in The Lord of the Rings, as hundreds leave while a handful stay and fight the last of the Persian army. Meanwhile, Gorgo tells the rest of the men left behind that they're at war and warns them to join the fight, as Theron believes King Leonidas brought the war to Sparta when Xerxes started the war and Gorgo stabs Theron and kills him off, as Theron had a Persian coin and is a traitor, or labeled a traitor, I'll say. And the cinematography in that scene looks pretty well done. King Leonidas is offered to give up Sparta as he bows to Xerxes, and they prepare for one last battle, and Leonidas cuts Xerxes' face, and the remaining Spartans do die by the arrows in Delios, and delivers the message to Gorgo that King Leonidas is dead and gives back the good luck necklace, as Leonidas lies there dead, which felt depressing as an ending. But the fight goes on with Delius with the shitload of men, at least more than 300 men, I'll say. And the climax is epic, and I like how the movie will succeed in Leonidas' connection, but we'll see how that works in the next movie. I don't know how that's going to go. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 8.0 out of 10. The visuals with the cinematography looks fucking gorgeous, and they did a damn good job at telling the history of the 300 Spartans. There were times the movie got uncomfortable and should have cut out unnecessary scenes like the sex scene at the beginning, but I had a good time looking at the movie as the performances were adequate at best. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and next time we'll be back with 300, Rise of an Empire. And until next time, oh!